Welcome back to another episode of Bavarian Motorworks, and as you can see in front of you, not the pans obviously, the turbo is all done, it's all been hybrided. As you can see, that's different impellers they use. What they do is they bore it out here in order to fit this bigger wheel, and obviously I think a bigger compressor wheel as well. I think that's it. I'm not an expert on turbos. So anyway, GP turbos as usual do a good job, a very good job. Get the turbo nice and clean. So I'm going to go through fitting the turbo and priming the turbo. So first of all, I've got all my hoses here that I want to flush out with some brake cleaner. So once that's done, I will go ahead and refit the turbo and just go through a few things that are very important in terms of gasket orientation. Now this was blowing a little bit apparently, which I wasn't aware of, but when I took it to GP there was a big black mark there, so it must have been blowing via the gasket. I think I had the gasket on the wrong way. While we're on the subject, let me just grab the gasket. So here's the gasket. It's a metal one you normally get, and so the smooth side, which is this side, goes to the turbo like so. So the exhaust manifold will sit in this little groove here, and that's what stops it from blowing. So I think I had it that way around, and that's wrong. I think because I had it that way around, I think it created a little gap, I think. Yeah, it wasn't quite seated right, so it's that way. So smooth side to the turbo and that side to the manifold. So let's do a bit of TLC before I go ahead and fit this turbo and clean all the hoses out, because I want to do this right, obviously. Right, let's crack on. Normally what I do is, to be honest, in the ideal world, you want to replace this pipe really, but I normally just flush them out and it's fine. So just make sure that there's no tin there. A bit of brake cleaner. You want to reverse flush it as well. Make sure it's not stuck on it. Actually, some little bits have come out. What the hell is this? Yeah, it just looks like dried up oil by the looks of it. So that's one. Allow that to dry and do this one. Just run this sink a minute. Now, I know you might think these bits here are a bit of a concern. They're not, because when I rebuilt the engine, I did flush it out quite a bit, and there was like dried up oil, like little bits that weren't hard. They were just like sludgy bits. Even though I flushed it to high hell, I couldn't get all of them out really, but the car's been running fine since then. So I think it's going to take a few oil changes to get rid of all the bits, but it's not causing any problems. Yeah, they just dried up bits of oil. Done. Right, nice and clean. That's what we want. I'm not explaining it properly. I think there were sludgy bits of oil that broke down when I rebuilt the engine, and they went into like little bits. It's not easy to get all those out. I did try my best, but yeah, it's going to take a couple of a few more oil changes really to get all those out. But it's not caused the car any problems. I've not had any running issues with it, so. Right, just get all this nice and clean. I think I might give this another blast. That will do. I'll leave this bolt to good. Right, that's part's done, so we'll move on to the next phase, which is starting to refit the turbo and priming the turbo ready for engine start. Now, actually, while I'm here, I'll mention the way I do it now. This end fits to the top of the turbo. Now, either you can, it's very difficult to do this though, either you can prime it through the actual turbo, or what I tend to do is fit this hose and I'll just use that end to prime it until it's full. So we'll leave this to dry. It's a lovely day. I'll put it out in the sun for a bit and then we'll come back to the next one. Now what I tend to do is I tend to install this, pre-install this pipe, because if I were to tighten that up now, this won't reach. So I'll leave it loose like that. Once I've measured that it's going to reach, I tighten up this bolt. But I think about there's going to be right anyway, but we'll see about that. Next bit, where are we? So yeah, the pipe underneath is going to have to go. I normally put that on when I've got the turbo in, otherwise the metal pipe seems to block the turbo installation. It's a tight space down there, so I tend to leave this on and do it when I've got it through the hole. So anyway, let's crack on. Right, I didn't film it because I can't do it with one hand, but I've got the turbo through. Now the reason why I leave that pipe out is because if you fit that pipe beforehand, it's very difficult to get the turbo through the hole unless you want to undo this as well. You could do that if you want, it's not hard, but to be honest, save a job, I don't want to do that. So at this point now, I'm going to get that pipe, I'm going to put the gasket in, and I'm going to screw it in, and then offer up the turbo to the manifold, adjust that pipe, the oil feed pipe, and then tighten it to the manifold and start priming it after I've connected all this here. So let's move on to that part. I forgot to mention, because I forgot something, before you offer the turbo up, obviously you need to secure it back to the bracket with the 3 bolts. I'll leave it loose for the minute until I've got the bolts in at the top and the gasket, of course. That's all back in and secure. So let's secure the turbo. Okay, I need to prime the turbo. So what I've done is, to make it easier, because if I have the pipe down there, it's harder to do it because it's not elevated. So what I've done is, if you get a wrench like that, a ratchet, one of those mini ones with a 14mm, you can actually get to the turbo feed bolt. So I've loosened it, pulled it this way, tightened it, and that gives me a bit better access. So you will need syringe, engine oil. So try and do this cleanly as possible. Okay. And start feeding the oil through. The next lot, I think I'll use all of this and that'll be sufficient. So you get the idea, and I'll carry on, finish this, and then we'll do some checks. Ran out of time, but fill the turbo with oil, so might be a worthwhile thing, just let it sit there overnight, saturating, and then in the morning I will make a few checks. We'll make some checks, I'll record it all, and that's it. We'll fire it up, and then I need to record the data for the remap file, and I will go through that and show you how you can set up that using Testo. So anyway, on to the next chapter.